Let me ask you a question. How many apps, tools, platforms, folders, and systems do you use to run your wedding content creator business? 5? 10? 15? If you're like most creators, the answer is probably more than you think. And that's becoming a huge problem because one misstep in that chain could cost you a booking without you ever realizing it. Today, I want to show you something most wedding content creators never stop to think about. The average wedding content creator might be using Instagram, TikTok, email, Google Calendar, Canva, Google Drive, Dropbox, Stripe, DocuSign, an invoicing platform, a CRM, and a delivery platform. That's 12 different tools before we've even talked about editing. And every one of them creates another handoff, another place where information can get lost. Imagine this. You wake up in the morning and check Instagram. A new inquiry has arrived overnight. Great news! A potential client wants to know if you're available for their wedding. You reply, answer a few questions, send some information, and the conversation begins. Seems simple enough, but then something interesting happens. You leave Instagram. You open your calendar. You check availability. You look at travel dates. You make sure there aren't any conflicts. Now you're in a completely different system, and the workflow has already started to split apart. The couple asks a few more questions: budget, timeline, venue, special requests. So you open your Notes app. You save details. You make reminders. You record information you'll need later. Now, some information lives in Instagram. Some information lives in your notes. And we're only a few minutes into the process. Next, they ask about pricing. So you open Canva, or maybe a PDF, or maybe a pricing guide you've created yourself. You send it, wait for a response, and hope they understand your packages. Another tool, another step, another place where information exists. A few days later, they decide to book. Amazing! Now it's contract time. So you open another platform, maybe DocuSign, maybe Adobe Sign, maybe something else entirely. You prepare the agreement, send it, wait for signatures, track the status, and move on to the next step. Then comes payment. Stripe, PayPal, bank transfer, invoice software, whatever system you use. Now the booking information is spread across even more platforms. And every time you move information from one place to another, you're relying on yourself to keep everything organized. Now let's fast forward. Wedding day arrives. The couple is excited. The venue looks incredible. The energy is amazing. And for the next 8, 10, or 12 hours, you're doing what you actually love: creating, capturing moments, telling stories, being present. This is why you started. But then the wedding ends, and suddenly the creator becomes an administrator. You need to organize footage, upload files, deliver content, respond to messages, track deliverables, follow up with vendors, update records, and somehow remember where everything is. Maybe you use Google Drive, maybe Dropbox, maybe WeTransfer, maybe shared albums, maybe AirDrop, maybe all of them. Every creator has developed their own collection of workarounds, and most of them work, at least for a while. After studying hundreds of wedding content creator workflows, we've noticed the same thing over and over again. Amazing creators, beautiful work, happy couples, but fragmented systems, disconnected workflows, and far more complexity than necessary. Here's the interesting part. None of these tools are bad. Instagram is excellent. Google Drive is excellent. Canva is excellent. Stripe is excellent. The problem isn't the tools themselves. The problem is the way they're being used together, or more accurately, the way they're not being used together. Because every time information moves from one platform to another, something can get lost. A lead, a note, a deadline, a payment, a file, a follow-up, or simply your time. And over the course of weeks and months, those tiny inefficiencies start adding up. Let's imagine a creator named Sarah. Sarah is talented. Her work is beautiful. Her couples love her. She's booking weddings consistently. From the outside, everything looks successful. But behind the scenes, she's constantly switching between apps, checking messages, looking for files, searching for contracts, tracking payments, updating spreadsheets, following up on inquiries, managing folders, managing links, managing systems. And it's exhausting. The strange thing is that Sarah doesn't even realize how much energy it's costing her, because she's been doing it this way for so long. It feels normal. But normal doesn't always mean efficient, and it definitely doesn't mean scalable. The more weddings she books, the more complicated everything becomes. And that's where the real problem starts. Because the biggest challenge facing many wedding content creators today isn't content creation. It's operational complexity. It's the hidden weight of managing a business across a dozen disconnected tools. And when that complexity grows, so do the consequences. Missed leads, lost bookings, delayed delivery, stress, burnout. Let's talk about what complexity actually costs. Because most creators don't notice the problem until it's already affecting their business. At first, it's just a little inconvenience. A few extra clicks, a few extra apps, a few extra reminders. But over time, those little things become something much bigger. Imagine receiving an inquiry on Instagram. You read it, you mean to reply, but you're in the middle of editing. Then another notification arrives. Then another. A few hours pass. Then a day. Then 2 days. Eventually you remember. But by then, the couple has already booked someone else. That booking wasn't lost because of your work. It wasn't lost because of your pricing. It wasn't lost because another creator was better. It was lost because the lead slipped through the cracks. And that's a systems problem, not a talent problem. Now multiply that across an entire year. One missed inquiry, one delayed response, one forgotten follow-up, one lost opportunity. Suddenly, the cost becomes very real. And inquiries aren't the only thing that get lost. A couple is ready to book. You think you've sent the contract. They think they're waiting on you. Nobody follows up. 2 weeks later, they hire someone else. Contracts get delayed. Invoices get forgotten. Deliverables get pushed back. Client requests get buried in old conversations. Every disconnected system creates another opportunity for something important to disappear. Here's something most creators never calculate: the cost of context switching. Have you ever opened Instagram to answer one message, and 20 minutes later you're scrolling Reels and completely forgot why you opened the app? That's context switching in real life. Instagram, calendar, email, notes, Canva, Drive, back to Instagram, back to email, back to Drive. Your attention becomes fragmented, and fragmented attention kills productivity. You don't just lose the time it takes to switch apps, you lose focus, momentum, mental energy. And that's exactly what many creators experience every single day. Now let's talk about delivery, because this is where things often become frustrating. The wedding is over. The couple is excited. They're waiting for content. They've already started posting. Friends are asking for photos. Family members are texting. And everyone wants to relive the day immediately. Meanwhile, you're trying to upload files, organize folders, rename clips, generate links, share passwords, manage downloads, and answer questions. What should be a magical moment for the couple becomes a logistical exercise. The truth is that modern couples don't want file transfers. They want experiences. They don't want complicated instructions. They don't want folders. They don't want to figure out where things live. They simply want their memories, fast, beautifully delivered, and easy to access. Couples today expect wedding memories to move at the speed of social media. The wedding ends Saturday night. By Sunday morning, they expect content. By Sunday afternoon, they want to share it. By Monday, they're already reliving the day with friends and family. That's the reality modern creators operate in. Now, imagine you're managing 5 weddings. Not too bad. Now imagine 10, then 20, then 30. The exact workflow that felt manageable in the beginning starts becoming increasingly difficult to maintain. Because complexity scales, and unfortunately, so does chaos. This is where many creators start feeling overwhelmed. Not because they're doing more creative work, but because they're doing more administrative work. More follow-ups, more file management, more organization, more coordination, more troubleshooting, more maintenance. And eventually something strange happens. You spend less time creating and more time managing. The business starts pulling you away from the very thing you enjoy most. That's one of the biggest reasons creators experience burnout. Not because weddings are hard, because systems become exhausting. The irony is that many creators assume this is simply the cost of growth. They think, well, this is just what happens when you get busier. But that's not entirely true. What actually happens is that weak systems get exposed. Growth doesn't create problems. Growth reveals them. And this brings us to an important realization. The future of successful wedding content creators won't be determined solely by who creates the best content. It will also be determined by who builds the best systems. Because when content quality becomes expected, operational excellence becomes the advantage. Let's zoom out for a moment. Because this isn't really a conversation about apps. It's a conversation about the future of an industry. Wedding content creation has evolved incredibly quickly. The demand has exploded. Couples expect more. Deliverables have changed. Timelines have changed. The profession has changed. But many of the systems supporting creators haven't changed with it. Think about what couples expect today. They don't want to wait 6 weeks to relive their wedding. They don't want to wait until next month. They want stories, reels, behind-the-scenes content, raw moments, real memories, immediately. And that's what makes this profession so exciting. Wedding content creators aren't replacing photographers. They're not replacing videographers. They're creating something entirely different, a new category, a new service, a new expectation. And every year, that expectation becomes stronger. The creators who thrive over the next 5 years won't necessarily be the creators with the most expensive gear. They won't necessarily be the creators with the biggest social media following. And they won't necessarily be the creators with the most experience. They'll be the creators who combine great content with great systems. Because that's where the real leverage exists. Imagine 2 creators, both talented, both professional, both delivering great content. But one creator spends hours every week chasing links, searching folders, tracking payments, following up on leads, and managing disconnected workflows. The other creator spends that time building relationships, improving client experience, and growing their business. Who do you think wins? This is why systems matter. Good systems don't just save time, they create capacity. Capacity to serve more clients. Capacity to improve your work. Capacity to enjoy the business you've worked so hard to build. And that's something every creator should care about. I think we're entering a new phase of the industry. The first phase was awareness. Most people didn't even know wedding content creators existed. The second phase was adoption. Couples began hiring creators in larger numbers. The third phase is optimization. creators are starting to ask a different question. Not, how do I become a wedding content creator, but how do I build a better wedding content creator business? That's a very different conversation. And when industries mature, something interesting happens. The winners stop competing only on talent. They start competing on experience, speed, efficiency, reliability, consistency, client satisfaction. Those things become differentiators. The creators who understand this early will have an enormous advantage because they'll spend less time fighting their systems and more time focusing on their clients. That's where referrals come from. That's where reputation comes from. And ultimately, that's where growth comes from. That's one of the reasons we started building Isle. Not because creators needed more software, because they needed less chaos, less friction, less complexity, a better experience for themselves and for their couples. Now, whether you use Isle or not isn't really the point of this video. The point is this. The industry is evolving, and the creators who build strong systems today will be in a much stronger position tomorrow. That's true regardless of the tools you choose. So here's my challenge to you. Take a look at your current workflow. How many platforms are you using? How many logins? How many handoffs? How many steps? How many things rely entirely on your memory? You might be surprised by the answer. The wedding content creator industry is still in its early days. The creators who build strong systems today will have an enormous advantage tomorrow. If you're building a wedding content creator business, subscribe. Every week we're sharing strategies, pricing advice, workflow ideas, industry trends, and practical insights designed specifically for wedding content creators. And if you'd like early access to what we're building at Isle, the waitlist link is below. We're building it for creators like you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.